Hey guys, if you're new to Deception Bytes, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. Okay guys, I'm back and it is August 12th and they say it's my birthday. Happy birthday to me. Well, yes, and it's 9:10 p.m. I'm getting a later start, and you know why? Because I already got about halfway through recording this, and I am planning on doing 2 videos tonight, but Xander, who was laying peacefully across the back of my chair, got down, and for some reason he grabbed the cord and took the cord out of my internet, which is just behind me. And so, without an internet, I couldn't continue, and so here I am doing it again. Anyway, what we're going to talk about tonight is Q-related news, and I do have 2 videos for you tonight, so let's get to it. Now, yes, I was, let's get rid of this, I was planning on bringing you videos yesterday because I was housebound because of my car yesterday. It's since been fixed, but I had all this energy yesterday, and I thought, well, you know what, before I, record, I'm going to do some house cleaning. So I did some house cleaning, and then I thought, well, I should make some repairs. I had some drapes that needed to go up, a little bit more strong, whatever. They were very flimsy and they could have came down easily. Yeah, you know which drapes they are. The ones that Xander knocked down. So I was doing that, and then I was doing some other things, and I hurt my back. So I spent last night, the rest of that day, in extreme pain, soaking in Epsom salts. So anyway, but I'm back today. I'm feeling much better, and I'm ready to go. I'm revved up, and I hope you are too. So again, this is going to be one of 2 videos, but it is going to be a news related one. We're not going to concentrate on any one subject, but we're going to hit on many. So let's get moving. All right, now I do have my air conditioner on, and I noticed that I did lose a couple people because they said that when they had their earphones on, it sounded like muffling or water running or whatever. But to me, I mean, I hate to lose listeners, but on the other hand, I wouldn't be able to do the show if I didn't run my air conditioner, because this has been a very unusually hot summer for us. And so, but in another week or so, the temperatures will plummet downward on the march to winter, and I won't need it anymore, and it'll become much clearer at that time. All right, now this is the first thing that I wanted to get to, and this is from the DEFCON warning system, and this is interesting. Maybe many of you, especially those of you in California, already knew this. I didn't, and imagine my surprise. California's nuclear power plants built in close proximity to the San Andreas Fault, setting up catastrophic Fukushima event for the West Coast. Now, we know that it's not if an earthquake is going to strike California, it's when. And we know that we've been, all my adult life, I've been reading about it, and knew that it would happen. I think even as a teenager and so forth, I was well aware of it. So why would anyone build all these nuclear plants along the San Andreas Fault? Who would do something like that? Well, if somebody was going to do it, you can bet it would be California. I'm not saying anything about the good people of California. There are many, many good people in California, but you've got to admit it's not a well-run state. So let's take a look at this. Look at these. Here we have the San Andreas Fault line, and look. This one's the furthest away, Ranchero Seco, I would imagine that's how you say that, nuclear power plant. But look at this, the Humboldt Bay nuclear power plant, right on the San Andreas Fault. Well, isn't that special? Who does that and thinks, gee, I think this is a good idea? I mean, really, what could go wrong? Yeah, ask the good people of Fukushima. And the fact that our ocean is now polluted with nuclear
radiation, yeah, ask them if they think it's a good idea now. All right, so natural news investigation into the geolocation of nuclear power facilities in California reveals that 5 nuclear facilities were built in close proximity to the San Andreas fault line, with some constructed right in the middle of earthquake zones that have up to a 50% chance of a severe earthquake every 30 years. One nuclear power plant, the Diablo Canyon Nuclear Power Plant, which produces 2,160 megawatts, was constructed on the coast, making it extremely vulnerable to the same kind of ocean water surge that destroyed the Fukushima Daiichi facility, which suffered a 2011 meltdown in Japan. That nuclear catastrophe, which was dutifully covered up by the entire Western media for months, was caused by an underwater earthquake that produced a tsunami wave which engulfed the facility. California's Diablo Canyon Nuclear Power Plant is positioned on the coastline in the exact same way, making it highly vulnerable to underwater earthquakes or other events such as underwater caldera explosions that can produce massive tsunami waves. Gee, great. There are 5 additional nuclear power facilities in California which are in various stages of being decommissioned, and many of them continue to store nuclear fuel on site. 4 of the 5 were constructed in close proximity to the San Andreas Fault, with only one, the Ranchero Seco Nuclear Power Plant, located in an area with a 0 chance of an earthquake. Okay, they did good there. Well, I think nuclear power is way too risky for the planet, personally. The Humboldt Bay Nuclear Power Plant, located north of San Francisco, was constructed almost exactly on the San Andreas Fault. What are they trying to do? Destroy the planet? I mean, it's not enough that they've destroyed the state. It's not enough that all the human poop and waste is washing into the ocean. That's not enough. No, they want to poison us all. Yeah, not just with their ideas and loony ideologies. No, they want to literally poison us. Yay. Now would be a great place for an eye roll. Okay, that made me feel better momentarily, but only momentarily. So let's go back now, because we can. And now, the other thing I want to mention before we get into Epic Find is I don't feel it necessary to apologize that nothing happened yesterday. I did feel that there was significant things leading up to that, and I felt that it was my duty to let you guys know, especially you guys in California. So I'm not going to apologize, because I still think, because of all the predictive programming that we have received over the years, I still believe that that is somewhere in our future. I just pray, I pray that as few people can be harmed or killed as possible, because but I just, we know that they tell us before they do what they're going to do. They always tell us, they always warn us, just like with 9/11. So when you see that many movies and so forth, with the destruction there, and The Simpsons, which we know seems to predict everything, then yeah, there was reason enough for me to be concerned, and I'm not going to apologize for that. I am happy. I am delighted that nothing happened. I'm not one of these people that, I hope something happens so I can be right. No, this is like the first time I'm absolutely delighted I was wrong. So there you go. All right, and of course, there seems to be more and more inconsistencies with the story of Epic Find. And look at this picture. A little odd. What do you think is odd about this picture? Well, besides the fact that his ear doesn't match Epic Find's ear, and his nose does not match Epic Find's ear, and that this is actually a picture taken from the scene of Anthony Bourdain, who also seemed to mysteriously commit suicide. So, yeah, but look at this head right here. Big head. Yep, there it is, big head. Teeny tiny body. Like child's body, really. Teeny tiny, very short body. Gee, what is his head just sitting there on the pillow? What's this? Where are his legs? His arms, his torso? I mean, he's like the shortest man in history. Maybe. I don't know. Crazy. So, yeah, I don't believe this photograph. I'm just saying. I don't. You can. You are more than entitled to. But I don't. It doesn't make sense. And if it doesn't make sense optically, something's wrong. This is the end of the... Nope. Sorry. There was just about a catastrophe there. It would have been catastrophic. Acme Cat be gone. I recommend it for everyone. All right, now, well, for everyone with cats. Don't use it on your kids. They won't like that. Okay, now let's go on here from this ridiculous picture and look at this. And I know we've looked at this before, quite aware of that, but someone has outlined here, and it does make it much easier to see. So, and for those of you that may not have seen it, let's take a look. Yeah, this is Epic Find when he was alive. And here is the outline to his ear. Small ear. And then this is Epic Find after he has so-called hung himself on suicide watch. But apparently somebody took him off suicide watch right before he commits suicide. Right. I know. Hard to believe, isn't it? Yeah. All right. So anyway, again, we see Epic Find when he was alive had a very straight nose. Nice and straight. Almost like perfect. Almost like he had a nose job. And I don't know. Maybe he was just born with a straight nose. Some people are. I wasn't. But that's okay. I'll get over it. Don't feel bad for me. And then this is Epic Find when he died, and oh my gosh, he's got this big old nostril here, which wasn't there before. His nostril was never that big, and a big old hook nose. Wow, strange things happen when you hang yourself. My gosh, your nose gets hooked, your nostrils get big, and look at this. There's his eye, and even closed, there's way more of a gap here between his eyebrow when he's dead, and seems like his forehead is longer here than here. And then there's that issue of the ear. Strange ear. Look at this. You can't tell me that's the same ear. Well, you can, but I won't believe you. No way. Now, I understand. I understand when people hang themselves, that there is edema in the face, there's bruising, you get purplish. I understand that. I've never seen it myself personally, don't want to, but that's what I understand from reading about it. So it's understandable that maybe your ear would be swollen or your face swollen or whatever, but it's one thing if your ear swells. It's another thing if you have a totally different ear. Like, you hang yourself and your ears just get up and leave and new ears attach themselves. I don't know. It's weird. So yeah, that's not the same ear. It's not the same ear. Yeah. So anyway, let's go on. And of course, this is without the, and again, just totally different ear shape. So yeah, And there seems to be a cut or abrasion here. It could be that there's bruising. There could be that it's from, the blood pooling there. I don't know. But yeah. And the other thing is, too, I just keep hearing all these different things. One thing is now they're saying that he used a bed sheet. A bed sheet. Right. Okay. A bed sheet to hang himself. All right. Fine. Then they say, they found him hanging in the cell, which means that he would have been dead. So why do we have pictures of them working on him as he is being wheeled into the hospital? We heard that he died in the hospital. We heard that he died on the way. We heard that he was already dead in the cell. We heard that he was on suicide watch. Then they said no. His lawyer had asked him to be taken off suicide watch. We heard all sorts of things that don't make any sense. None. I mean, what are the odds that they take you off suicide watch and then you just happen to commit suicide right there? I mean, what, on the weekend? Was there someone there to give him back all his stuff? Because they take everything out of your cell that you could possibly harm yourself with. Everything. There's no fixture in the cell for him to hang himself from. I read that, I don't know, in several places, saying there was no fixtures in there because it's the rooms, they're not stupid enough to put fixtures in a jail cell that you could hang yourself from. My gosh. So what did he hang himself from? And he has his bed sheet. I mean, who gave him back all this stuff? None of it makes sense. None of it. Again, I don't believe he's dead. And I'll tell you why in a bit. It makes it very convenient, actually, for him to be alive. It does. Well, it makes it very convenient for him to be dead in order to for this prosecution to go forward. And I know you're thinking, are you nuts? Yes, but that's beside the point. You see, there's federal agents, even as we speak, swarming over Little St. James Island. And the reason that they are allowed to do that, they don't need a warrant now because he's dead. They can seize anything they want. And there's no lawyer that will intervene because he's dead. They can go to his mansion. They can seize everything they want out of there. And it can be admitted in court because he's dead. They can go after all his accomplices. He can now, if he's alive, but they're letting on that he's dead, he can tell them everything. I'm thinking that they switched them out and he is ratting out everyone and in exchange for his life. Yes, I still think he will be in prison. I don't think he's sunning himself in the Caribbean anywhere. Don't believe that for a minute, but I do think that he is alive, and I think he's spilling his guts. And that was the only way to keep him safe, because we know he would have been Arkancided. Absolutely. So just saying. All right, so we're going to move on from there, but we may come back and touch on it again because I'm just going through here. I've got a lot of stuff from a lot of different places. Okay, let's look at this. Okay, you can sleep and pretend that you're innocent there and that you never get in trouble, but do not disconnect my internet again. I might not be so good-natured about it next time. Okay, let's look at this. All right, now this is very interesting. It says mainstream media accidentally tells the truth. And I think she might have had one too many before she got on to, she said something that she really shouldn't have said. And probably most people didn't catch it, but let's just take a listen, shall we?
Supporters that I talked to who were Trump voters and are still Trump supporters, they go, yeah, you guys are going crazy. He's doing, what are you so surprised about? He's doing exactly what he said he's going to do.
Well, and I think that the dangerous, edges here are that he's trying to undermine the media, trying to make up his own facts, and it could be that while unemployment and the economy worsens, he could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think, and that is our job.
Yeah.
What the hell did you say? He could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think, and that is our job.
Yeah.
Oh, and that is our job. He might be able to control what people think, and that is our job. Wow. Yeah, she should have put it down before she, really, like, does she have any idea what she said? I mean, really? Well, they admit it at least. So let's go back and let's look at this. Again, from Skinny 45. Now, this is interesting as well. Some of you may have seen this, but it's worth seeing again.
Our responsibility is to serve our Treasure Valley communities, the El Paso, Las Cruces communities, Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But
Plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
False news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these stories that aren't true without checking facts first.
unfortunately, some members of the use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 This is extremely dangerous to our democracy. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
No, actually, that is extremely dangerous to our democracy. There is, if you've got people that you talk to on a daily basis that don't believe the news is scripted, you need to show them this, really, because it is scripted. All of it is scripted, and it doesn't matter if you are in Florida, if you're in Michigan, if you're in California, they're reading the same news. They all have their talking points and they all read it. So you're not getting somebody's opinion. You're not getting journalism anymore. It's dead. We are the news now. We are the only people that are actually bringing you news and, opinion based on, not on what somebody else thinks, is the alt media and people like myself who are labeled conspiracy theorists. So, yeah, it's sad that it's come to that, but the journalists, you know what they are? They're just talking heads. It doesn't matter if they went to journalism school because they don't use any journalistic integrity at all. I mean, they're not really researching anything. They are just parrots. They're parrots. They repeat everything they're told to say, and it's important that they look nice and they present it well, and that's it. Nobody cares. But you get on YouTube and you get real people who look, like real people look, and who talk like real people talk, and have opinions like real people have. So we are the news. And I'm not just talking about myself. I'm talking about all of you too. Because you hear some of your favorite YouTubers or whatever, and you pass it along, or you get into conversations about it with other people. We are the news. So let's go back now. And I think I have one more from this. Yes. Now, this is David Rockefeller's 1991 leaked speech. Okay. Now, I'm going to have to read it because it's very, very, it's very hard to hear what he's saying. So I'll try my best to get this. It's only 25 seconds, but okay. And he starts off with, "We are grateful to the Washington Post, the New York Times, and Time Magazine."
Post, the New York Times, Time Magazine, and other publications.
And other publication whose directors have attended our meetings.
Whose directors have attended our meetings.
And have respected their promises of discretion for almost 40 years.
Respected their promises of discretion for almost 40 years.
It would have been impossible for us to develop our plan for the world.
It would have been impossible for us to develop our plan for the world
if we had been subject to the bright lights of publicity.
We had been subject to the bright lights of publicity.
But the world is now more sophisticated and prepared to march toward a world government. Now, remember, 1991 was when George Herbert Walker Bush stood up and said his famous speech about New World Order. It was the first time I had ever heard that term, and it stuck out to me. New World Order. We now have a very real chance or whatever at a New World Order. So he's saying, but the world is now more sophisticated and prepared to march toward a world government.
The world is now more sophisticated and prepared to march toward a world government.
We are grateful to the Washington Post, the New York Times, Time Magazine.
Grateful to the Washington Post, the New York Times, Time Magazine, and other publications.
And other publication whose directors have attended our meetings.
Whose directors have attended our meetings
and have respected their promises of discretion for almost 40 years.
Respected their promises of discretion for almost 40 years. It would have been impossible for us to develop our plan for the world if we had been subject to the bright lights of publicity. But the world is now more sophisticated and prepared to march toward a world government. We are grateful to the Washington.
Okay, it's just going over the same thing again. So you get the gist. So this was in 1991, the same year that George Herbert Walker Bush stood up and declared the New World Order and 1,000 points of light. Do you remember that? All right, let's get out of here and go back. Why? Because we can. All right, now this is about the 8chan owner. I know you've all heard about what's happened to 8chan, and it's made it impossible for Q to post, of course, which is what they were trying for in the first place. But this is from the owner. 8chan owner blast sinister shutdown attempts. Moves to shut down the chat forum 8chan are sinister and cowardly, its owner said Wednesday after he was called to appear before U.S. Congress to explain the hate content linked to deadly U.S. shootings. In a video uploaded to YouTube on Tuesday, Philippine-based Jim Watkins said the deadly weekend attacks in the American cities of EP and Dayton were a tragedy, but he insisted 8chan had not broken any laws and devoted most of its 7.5-minute video to criticizing the subsequent moves to shut down his forum. It's actually sinister behavior. Ours is one of the last independent companies that offer a place you can write down your thoughts free from having to worry about whether they are offensive to one group or another, the American said. Watkins portrayed efforts against 8chan as part of the power consolidation of the internet by a few strong and rich companies, and of course we know that's exactly what is happening. It will effectively silence the masses and leave them with no place to voice their messages, Watkins said. 8chan, which promotes itself as a site devoted to the darkest reaches of the internet, has been home to posts from right-wing extremists, misogynists, and conspiracy theorists. A manifesto denouncing a Hispanic invasion, said to have been written by the young white male American suspect in the EP attack, was posted on 8chan shortly before he gunned down 22 people and wounded more than 20 others. On Tuesday, the House Homeland Security Committee invited Watkins to testify on what he is going to address, on what he is doing to address the proliferation of of extremist content, including white supremacist content on your website. EP was the third act of white supremacist extremist violence linked to 8chan committee chairman Benny Thompson said in his letter to Watkins. Now, this is interesting because the manifesto, as you are well aware of, was posted after the mass fruiting had begun. How is that possible? Yeah. So Thompson also cited screeds by suspects in the California synagogue attack and that killed a worshiper in April, and the murder of 51 Muslims at NZ mosques in March. And 8chan's official Twitter account on Wednesday tweeted a message by Watkins assuring the U.S. Congress he was on his way back to America as we speak, adding, "Rest assured, I am not an extremist." The forum was forced offline shortly after the EP attack when digital infrastructure firm Cloudflare terminated its services with the site. In a blog post announcing the move, Cloudflare CEO Matthew Prince described 8chan as a cesspool of hate. And Twitter and YouTube aren't, and Facebook isn't? Okay. Watkins said the accusations had caused him immense damage and hit back at Prince. "I wish his company the best and hold no animosity towards him and his cowardly and not thought out actions against 8chan," Watkins said. He said 8chan remained offline while he struggled to find another provider, but hoped to get the community of 1 million users up and running again soon. Set up by the U.S. teen Frederick Brennan in 2013, 8chan was rejected by different hosts and hounded by viral attacks until Watkins offered it a home in 2015. Now, this is the guy that set it up originally. He is wheelchair bound and has a very cute dog. All right, and so it was set up by the teen in 2013. It was rejected by different hosts until Watkins offered it a home in 2015. But speaking to AFP in the Philippines on Tuesday, Brennan said he wished he had shut down the site when he had the chance and regretted handing over the forum to his ex-partner. "I think this will be the final nail in the coffin for 8chan, he said of the EP shooting, accusing the forum of harboring domestic terrorists. Now, are there some questionable characters on 8chan? Are there some questionable characters on Twitter? What about Facebook? What about YouTube? Yeah, but it's 8chan, of course, that they shut down. Why? Because they can, number one, and number two, it's because it's where Q posts. What better way to stop Q? Yep. It was a setup. We know that. It was a setup to do exactly what they just did. So let's go back now and let's look at this. Now, I said, well, nothing happened. I guess nothing happened with the Golden Gate, but somebody brought this to my attention. And my internet's slow, so what do? Immediately I turn around to look to make sure the cat's not into something. Okay, so now 4 reportedly fruited in parking lot of San Francisco McDonald's. I know, you're saying, so what? So what? There's always stuff going on. Yeah, there is. But it's where it was. San Francisco, 4 people were injured in a late Saturday night shooting, and now that would have been on Tisha B'Av, San Francisco Western Edition, but let's look where it was. Hang on. Yes, the fruiting was first reported at 11:36 p.m. at the intersection of Fillmore Street and Golden Gate Avenue. So, at Golden Gate, Golden Arches, I don't know. San Francisco. Is that anything? Was it set up? I don't know. But I thought I would bring that to your attention because somebody brought it to mind, and I appreciate it. So let's go on now. Let's take a look at this. Now, this is a little bit of good news. At least I think it is. And for those of you that have belly fat, well, there you go. 1 cup of this will burn your belly fat like crazy. I'm sorry. And people say, why don't you have a, what do you call that? Like in your browser that cuts off ads? Well, I do, but they still come up. I don't know. Okay, wow. Overstock CEO Patrick Byrne fires off a warning shot to deep state. Bill Barr is about to break biggest scandal in American history. Now, do you call that good news? Because I sure do. Now, Overstock CEO Patrick Byrne joined David Assman. Is it Assman? I can't think of any way else to pronounce that, but hey, I wouldn't really want to have that last name, but hey, you do what you have to do. On Fox Business Network on Monday to discuss the launch of his new cryptocurrency. But first, Byrne was asked about his involvement in the Russia-Trump collusion witch hunt. Byrne was interviewed by the FBI for his involvement with Russia, Maria Butina. Byrne fired off a warning shot to the deep state. Patrick Byrne. I ended up in the center of the Russia and the Clinton investigations. I have all the answers. I've been sitting on them waiting for America to get there. Last summer, I figured out what they all are is about. Okay, I figured what they all are is all about. That doesn't make sense, but nevertheless, he said it. Political espionage. It had nothing to do with law enforcement. It was all political espionage. Here's the bottom line. There is a deep state like a submarine working just beneath the waves of the periscope depth, watching our shipping lane, and a nuclear icebreaker called the USS Bill Barr has snuck up on them and is about to ram mid-ship. Now, this is all allegorical, of course. That's about to happen, and I think we're about to see the biggest scandal in American history as a result. But it was all political. Everything you think you know about Russia and Clinton investigations is a lie. It's all a cover-up. It was all political espionage. Oh, yes, it was. David Assman, you think Bill Barr is going to get to the bottom of it? Patrick Byrne, I think he has gotten to the bottom of it. I hope so. So what do you think about that? And yeah, someone just commented down here. I just caught it. Says, I hope Barr has trustworthy bodyguards 24/7. Otherwise, he may just commit suicide. Right. Or a heart attack like Judge Scalia. He needs to watch his diet very, very closely. And then it says, you mean a heart attack by pillow suffocation? He could never stay alone, not even at night. Yes, it's devilishly hard to protect things when they can mind control people to screw up at key moments, like I believe they did with the people around Epic Find. This is their ace, in my opinion. If I'm right, the reality of this stuff is creepy as hell. Programming of humans. Mind control. So do you think that's what they did to Mueller? I was thinking it was some sort of an old-fashioned shock therapy that rendered him useless. I don't think so. Sad to know that, as an honest person following the law, you would be forced to live like this just to be true to your country. Yeah, so anyway, people are waking up. You know, bottom line, people are waking up and they're saying, you know what, there's things about this world that don't make sense, and there's things about what we're hearing that they contain too many inconsistencies. People are starting to see through this. I mean, that's how obvious it's getting. It used to be, I mean, when I first started with all this stuff way back, I mean, I would be saying things and people would look at me like, what is wrong with you? But now it's like everybody knows it to be true. It's accepted because little bits have come out, and they're starting to get, I would call it careless, because they're, I don't know, they're not even trying to cover it up anymore. So anyway, let's go on. All right. Now, what I said to you, at least I think I said it in this video and not the one that I had to record over, about them raiding Little St. James. And that is possible, brought to you by Epic Fine's death, because there is nobody that can stand up and say, no, you can't do that, because he's dead. He's dead. Nobody can argue on his behalf when he's dead, supposedly, right? So, yeah, they're just crawling all over that island. I hope that I hope they go down, and where the tunnels were, you know, filled in, I hope they dig and dig and dig and dig and dig. I wouldn't want to have that job just in case of what they might find, but... So, federal agents, including FBI and, I guess, is that California Border Patrol? I'm not sure why they would be there, but were seen on the dock and grounds of Little St. James, the island owned by accused sex trafficker Epic Fine in the U.S. Virgin Islands. The U.S. Attorney's Office and the Southern District of New York declined to comment on the operation. Well, naturally they would, because it's an ongoing operation. But there's tons of them there. Yes, there are. And I pray they're all doing their jobs, because I don't know about you, but I don't trust the FBI so much. Not so much. Now, hopefully, it's cleaned up a whole lot, but let's hope that it's cleaned up enough. All right. Now, let's go back, because there's more. There's always more. Okay. Now, this is a better story about this. So let's go here. And this from the Daily Mail. It came out today, August 12th. They say it's my birthday. Never mind. And let's look at this. A dozen FBI agents raid Jeffrey Epic Fine's island of corn niblets. I feel ridiculous, you know, I really do, but I mean, I'm a grown woman having to use code. Yeah, Epic Fine's island of corn niblets, pulling up to his Caribbean getaway in speedboats and roaming the grounds in golf carts 2 days after pervert billionaires. Yeah, so FBI agents were seen raiding Epic Fine's U.S. Virgin Island on Monday morning and afternoon. Exclusive Daily Mail TV footage shows. I'm hoping that guy, Rusty somebody, gets some good drone footage, as he has been getting wonderful drone footage out there, like high definition. I hope that he's able to do that. But now that the FBI is there, I think they might notice a drone flying around. You know, call me stupid, but hey, I'm just thinking they might. All right, other officials with FBI lettering on clear display were later seen overlooking the sea from the top of Epic Fine's remote luxury home. The raid comes 2 days after the 66-year-old was found in his New York cell early on Saturday morning. An onlooker told Daily Mail TV, "I'm on a boat charter with guests. We were enjoying lunch when we saw over a dozen people landing on the island. the home, dubbed Island of Corn Niblets, and eating Corn Niblet Island is at the center of an ongoing corn niblet trafficking probe into the criminal financier. Allegations have been made that underage niblets were used as corn slaves and repeatedly abused inside a temple on the island. Okay, I know it's ridiculous. I understand completely. And I'm not making light of it at all. It's just, I would prefer them not to kick me off YouTube. You know, I would prefer not to. FBI agents were seen raiding Epic Finds' private U.S. Virgin Island, which has been dubbed Corn Niblet Island, as the corn niblet trafficking probe around the now deceased intensifies, and exclusive Daily Mail TV footage shows the search being carried out. Okay, this is basically what they just said above, so let's come down here and see. No sound, but see, there they are scuba diving up. They're driving in a golf cart. Scuba diving, well, it's just going to go back and forth. Scuba diving up, I don't know. All right, so that's not so, you know, gobsmackingly anything. But here they are again. They are on the dock here. They've got a big boat. They're, and here they are again. Oh, that's a nice boat. Okay, I got distracted for a minute because I thought Caribbean, nice warm sunshine, big boat. But then I thought Corn Niblet Island, nah. There's places I'd like to go, and then there's places I wouldn't. And palm trees and FBI, they go together like milk and cookies, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why I'm being so strange, but this is beautiful. I mean, could you imagine owning this? I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous until you realize where the money came to build this. Seriously, it's disturbing, more than disturbing. I hope that, honestly, when all is said and done, those of his victims that are still on this side of eternity will get a share of whatever is seized, really. An onlooker who asked to remain anonymous and shot the footage told Daily Mail TV, "I'm on a boat charter with guests. We're the only guests out here at the moment. We were enjoying lunch when we saw a dozen people getting off their speedboats and landing on the island. When we looked harder, we could see the FBI logo on the back of their shirts. It didn't take long for us to realize that they must be conducting a raid on Epic Finds' house." Duh. The home, dubbed Corn Niblet Island and Corn Island, eating Corn Niblet Island, I don't know, is at the center of an ongoing, you know, niblet trafficking probe into the financial, or the criminal financier. Okay, I hate it when I have to talk in code, so I'm just gonna wrap this up. I think it's, you know, suffice it to say that they're there, they're investigating, and they're all over that island. So that would not have been possible had he been alive, or because his attorney would have, his attorney obviously wouldn't go against that. They would be fighting that all the way. So there you go. All right. And this, of course, is the famous temple. And this is on the top level, of course, and there are stairs into the underground, unless that part has been filled in as well. There was a gold dome here that was damaged and blew off in a hurricane. So that is the infamous temple. And there is another view of it when it was there. The roof was there and everything. And this looks to be drone footage. So I think that that is all I'm going to. And of course, there he is with his lady that procured for him the niblets. And here, of course, is someone that we all have a whole lot of respect for. At least I do. And yeah, so that's it. I hate to have to speak in code, and it's annoying. It's annoying for me. It's annoying for those that have to listen to me. So I'm going to go on here. All right. And that's by Steve Lundgren. How do you get everyone to focus on a corn niblet island? You rate it in daylight publicly. Yeah, you know, really, if they didn't want anyone to know that they were all over that island, they wouldn't have done it in the daylight. They want people to know. And who do they want to know? The deep state. Those that have been blackmailed by Epic Find, and many, many people have, including world leaders. Many world leaders. So I bet you they're getting a little nervous. Like, what happened to my tapes? What are they going to do with them? Well, are they seizing all the evidence? Because, you know, he's been blackmailing them for years and years. So, yeah, I bet you they're a little worried. And they want them to be. Major news outlets now reporting it. FBI searches Corn Niblet Island. Yep. There you go. Now, we're going to go on now. Yes, we are. All right. This is good news for all of us. Trump ending welfare-dependent immigration, saving taxpayers billions. Now, that is immigrants that come over and have no way to support themselves. Now, when I immigrated to the United States, I had to prove that I could provide for myself. I had to prove that. I had to provide 10 years of tax returns, and I had to show that I had a job and that I was making enough to be able to support myself so that I would not be a burden on the American people. And that's the way it should be, right? You know, if you're immigrating from somewhere, if I was immigrating from Canada, you know, if I couldn't support myself, it would naturally, the Americans would say, no, you're Canada's problem. Yeah, right? So I had to prove that I had no communicable diseases, that I was of sound mind. Well, you know, I passed on that one. I don't know how that happened, but yeah, so this is good news. It's good news, because if they're just coming over here to get on welfare, why don't they stay where they are and become the problem of the countries that they're going to? Now, it's different if somebody is really seeking asylum, and I mean true asylum. That's a little different, but yeah. President Trump is set to save American taxpayers billions of dollars as his administration announces a new rule on Monday that will essentially ban welfare-dependent legal immigrants from permanently resettling in the United States. A new regulation set to be published by the Trump administration will ensure that legal immigrants would be less likely to secure a permanent residency in the U.S. if they have used any form of welfare in the past, including using subsidized health care services, food stamps, and public housing. That makes sense to me. I mean, really, if you were wanting to immigrate to another country and you didn't have any way to support yourself, and let's say you had been on welfare in the States, and there are people that have been on it and deserved it, you know, they needed a hand up. They weren't looking for a handout. That's fine. But if you go to move to another country, don't you think it's their right to know that and say, wait a minute, you're going to be a burden on our country, so you need to stay where you are? I mean, that only makes sense to me. But then maybe I'm just too logical. So excuse me, don't sit on my head. The regulation will be a boon for American taxpayers in the form of an annual $57.4 billion tax cut. The amount taxpayers spend every year on paying for welfare, crime, and schooling costs the country's mass importation of $1.4 1.5 million new, mostly low-skilled legal immigrants. The National Academies of Science released a report 2 years ago noting that state and local American taxpayers are billed about $1,600 each year per immigrant to pay for their welfare, where immigrant households consume 33% more cash welfare than American citizen households. How is that fair? Really? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of veterans out there that are on the streets that could use that money. Yeah, people that actually fought for this country and fought for our freedom. A recent Center for Immigration Studies notes that about 63% of non-citizen households in the U.S. use at least one form of taxpayer-funded welfare, while only about 35% of native-born American households are on welfare. So 63% of non-citizen households compared to 35% of native-born Americans, who are entitled to it, by the way. This means that non-citizen households use nearly twice as much welfare as native-born American households. In California, which with the largest non-citizen population in the country at almost 11 million, or nearly 30% of the state's total population, more than 7 in 10, or 72% of households headed by non-citizens are on at least one form of welfare. Compare that to the findings that only 1 in 7 findings that only about 7 in 20, or 35% of native-born households in California are on welfare. And so here we are. This is any welfare at all, 63%. Immigrants, 55%. So these are illegal immigrants, okay? They're non-citizens. And there's 63% are on some form of welfare. 55% of all immigrant households, that includes citizen and non-citizen, are on. Naturalized citizens, it's 50%. Wow. And native households, that's people that were born in the United States, only 35% of them are on welfare. And then cash, it's kind of, well, it's still skewed about the same, 19% compared to 31%. And this is food, 45% compared to 21%. And this is Medicaid, 50% compared to Native Americans, 23%. And housing, now this is, well, the largest percentage of housing is naturalized citizens, which I find a little bit odd, but tied is, the purple is all immigrant houses, citizen and non-citizen. 5% of them are on housing and 5% of Native Americans, but only 4% of non-citizen households, and that's probably due to, getting the right paperwork and stuff to be able to get into housing. I don't know. I've never been in housing, thank the good Lord. But anyway, so preventing Americans from being forced to foot the bill for welfare for newly arrived legal immigrants is hugely popular among U.S. voters. A Rasmussen Reports poll conducted in 2017 reveals that more than 6 in 10 voters, or 62%, said they would support a plan that bans legal immigrants from receiving welfare for at least the first 5 years of their residency in the country. Roughly 67% of swing voters and nearly 60% of Black Americans said they would support such a plan. Another 76% of U.S. voters said welfare users should be mandated to prove that they are not in the country illegally before being allowed to obtain public benefits, including 74% of Black Americans, 77% of swing voters, and 63% of Democrat voters. Now, that's surprising. 63% of Democrat voters approve of this. But of course, the Democrat leaders would be saying, if we agree with that, then we're racist, of course, because they can't have a normal conversation on any other level than just throwing back, you're racist, you're racist, you're racist. That's how they argue. They can't form They can't argue with you on the facts because they don't know the facts. All they know is you're racist. Currently, there is an estimated record high of 44.5 million foreign-born residents living in the U.S. This is nearly quadruple the immigrant population in 2000. The vast majority of those arriving in the country every year are low-skilled legal immigrants who compete against working and middle-class Americans for jobs. So there you go, and Trump once again proving that he is the people's president, and he is. He doesn't care what those other guys say and how much they abuse him. He's doing what's right for the American people. And I like that. I don't know about you. Actually, I think I do know about you. I don't think you'd be listening to this channel if you didn't at least agree with me in part. So, let's go back now. And I'm going to quit here in a minute, but I'm not going to quit for good. I'm coming back. I really am. Because I'm going to do part 2. All right. Beto says the fruitings will only stop when Trump is gone. What about Sandy Look? San Bernardini. Well, at least that'll get by the censors. I like that. San Bernardini. Fort Food, Columbine, Aurora, Virginia. Stupid. No shootings. No, shootings will only... Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Will only stop when every one of Beto's friends are rounded up in their CLOWN. Yes, they're censoring that as well now. Operations sniffed out and shut down. So, in this front, Daily Caller said, Beto attacks like EP will happen again as long as Trump is in office. Right. Yeah. What about all the other major fruitings that took place when he wasn't in office? And interesting how once Obama made it legal for propaganda to be used against the American people, that the mass fruitings just went skyrocketing. Yeah, what about that? You're racist. All right, now, I am going to leave this here because where else would I take it? And I'm going to stop for now, and I'm going to come back. While this is uploading, I will get ready for the next video and record it. And you can't stop me. So anyway, I will be back shortly. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you real soon. Good night.